Vrancea is the land of nature's wonders, of old stories, of forefathers' songs, and of poetry unsurpassed by any other Romanian region. This is how Professor Virgiliu Arbore described this region of a matchless beauty. This is the place where Moldavia, Wallachia, and Transilvania meet, where the ballad of Miorița was created, and where there are 7 mountains which, legend says, Stephen the Great offered as a gift to Vrâncioaia for sending her sons to gather an army and fight besides him. The great scholar Bogdan Petrececu Hasdeu issued a hypothesis that the name Vrancea belongs to the Thracian-Dacian language, as Vran meant forest or mountain. Vrancea is the undisputed land of flock moving, this ancient seasonal migration of flocks and shepherds. These flocks move from the mountain pastures where they graze in summer to the fields in winter, along the natural trails made by the sheep. Here is a real cheese and dairy products realm. The secret of the wonderful taste of these products resting in the multitude of flora species the sheep graze, the quality of water and air, as well as the absence of any polluting source in the whole region. The craft of making cheese starts in the evening, when the sheep are immediately milked after returning from the pasture. The shepherds' wives cook delicious meals for their guests, a real feast of the tastes, a symphony of the natural flavors which those coming here will not be able to forget too soon. The fame of the Solveja pressed cheese has long crossed the borders of the county due to its unmistakable taste. One of the secrets of the unique whey cheese of Solveja is the brine used for making it. It is not made with salt bought from the shop, the natives taking the brine from the pools of Sirata Hill and use it diluted with well water. It is a tradition preserved by many generations, and if there is a place where the craft of making cheese will survive over the years, then Solveja is the place. The folk masks created by Master Șerban Terțiu from Nereju village are used in more local traditions, being mainly fascinating objects loaded with deep significance. The traditional Romanian masks represent real and fanciful animals, characters taken from reality or imagination, while their creation is a real art with occult valences. Each mask has its own specificity, depending on the ritual it is going to be used for. The masks are used in certain customs, rituals, or ritualistic dances, depending on the period of the year and the popular calendar. When an old man dies, a string of people wearing masks appears from nowhere, seemingly dragging the dark shadow of death which they are about to fight. They are the grey beards from Nereju village who came to tame death, an ancient custom which, the elderly think, appeared ever since there have been people on earth. They step in cadence round the fire in the wake yard, wearing the masks under which the human sins and weaknesses hide. Then they jump in the fire to burn the evil and allow the deceased man's soul to leave this world free of sins. The Black Lake is situated in a fractured region by the tectonic phenomena that created a unique aspect of the place, being one of the natural wonders of the Vrancea Mountains. Located at over 1200 meters high, the Black Lake, also called the Lake with Lungwort, after the popular name of a curing plant, has an area of 1 hectare and a maximum depth of 10 meters. The beauty and wilderness of the place remained untouched because the access road from Nistoreshti is difficult and available only a short period of time. The lake is remarkable for its active peat bog that covers half of its surface on the left shore, the other half being a floating reed islet. The Black Lake is a notably diverse ecosystem with wonderful healing plants such as the lungwort or the sky dew, a carnivorous plant unique in the Carpathians. Due to some species of tritons, aqua-terrestrial lizards that devour any tiny creatures in the water, no living being can survive in the lake. That is why the lake, though crystal clear, with no trace of pollution, is completely lifeless. The tritons are nevertheless essential elements of the ecosystem that maintain the peat bog, the eventual fish in the lake endangering his unique place. Every sunrise spreads over the hills and valleys of Vrancea a wave of beneficial warmth that awakens to life a multitude of dormant legends. Old Lady Vrâncioaia's legend, whose house was rebuilt in Bârșești village, says that she hosted Stephen the Great, without knowing at first he was the ruler of Moldavia. After realizing who he was, she sent her 7 sons to the neighboring villages, from where they returned with a whole army ready to fight. Then, after defeating the Turks, the ruler offered each a mountain, and 7 villages were called after their names: Bârșești, Bodești, Păulești, Negrilești, Spulber, Nistorești, and Spinești. Between the villages of Tulnici and Lepsa, leaving the mountainous space, the Putna River crosses a sector of compact gritstone in which it carved a spectacular gorge. The Putna, together with its tributary the Tishița, runs swirling some 80 meters downwards and then follows a narrow steep course guarded by cliffs with a level difference of 12 meters, while downstream a lake is formed with emerald shades. The Putna Waterfall Reserve, though only 10 hectares in size, being the smallest in the Vrancea Mountains, is nevertheless one of the best-known tourist landmarks of Romania. Crossed by a dense hydrographic network, the Vrancea Mountains hold near Tulnici village one of the most enigmatic landmarks of the county, the Chimney Waterfall. Hidden in some mountainous folds 25 meters high, the waterfall is located in a picturesque scenery, the water falling without touching the rocky wall, which makes it especially beautiful. Located on one of the Koza River tributaries, the Chimney Waterfall is the most beautiful but less known cascade of the Vrancea Mountains. Situated on the superior course of the Koza River, near Tulnich, the protected area called the Pine Hole is one of national interest, being set up in order to preserve both the elements of a particularly beautiful landscape and the geological structures, a real store of fossil fauna. One of the most spectacular tourist destinations of Vrancea, both in summer and in the cold season, is the natural reserve of Tâșița Gorges. The natural reserve, situated at 850 meters altitude, is 4.5 kilometers long, being one of the largest protected areas in Vrancea. Here the Tâșița River carved a deep valley between the Great Tisaru and the Goat's Ravine Hillock, forming these gorges of a special beauty. We must mention the lion's foot among the important floral species encountered here, which in 1931 was declared a natural monument. The relief is extremely rugged at times, with rocky, almost vertical walls, but also with gentle slopes. The Tâșița Gorges are easily accessible due to the forest railway embankment. The valleys are narrow here, discharging much energy and resembling a canyon. The rocky slopes of the Tâșița Gorges represent an ideal habitat for the populations of black goats that have extremely valuable specimens. The Tâșița Valley is one of the tourist destinations that cannot be missed by any traveler that crosses and wants to know Vrancea land. The Tâșița Gorges is also the place where we meet a lot of superb specimens of black goats, also called the queens of rocks. The fact that they cannot be hunted here, and their natural predators, the lynx and the wolf, are not numerous in the region, made possible the development of a large population, which is one of the great attractions of the Tâșița Gorges Natural Park. The Putna waters are winding through the rusty forests of Vrancea. It is already autumn, and summer left, making room for the season of colors and melancholy. The autumn wind, like a distant summer cry, is heard among the trees with yellow leaves, scared by the cold which is to come soon. It is the time of year when the copper colors spread over Vrancea's forests and bathe in the sunset light. Anyone who thinks the fallen leaves are dead has never seen them dancing on a windy day. At dawn, autumn dresses Vrancea's mountains in mist, a warm breath of the forest in the morning coolness. A flight above the forests reveals a multicolored carpet, pierced here and there by the trees whose crowns are painted in an almost grating yellow. One can feel a smell of wet leaves in the air, everything preparing to go into numbness. Life continues its course of thousands of years under the trees preparing to hibernate. The wild boar herds rummage under the carpet of leaves, looking for acorns and roots that will quench their hunger and will ensure the resources for surviving the freezing period of time. The gruntlings, though the stripes still show their young age, are now vigorous enough to fight against snowdrifts. The importance of the region is confirmed by the creation on almost 40% of the county mountainous area of the Vrancea Natural Park, totaling over 38,000 hectares, including 6 protected areas. Vrancea's forests are soaked with life in any season. The gracious deer graze the last blades of grass. Their fur thickened and got the shades of autumn, which makes it more difficult for the predators to notice them from the distance. If we leave aside for a moment the idyllic image of life in nature, we notice how the hind is attentive to any noise or rustle of the forest, for here life is nothing else than a continual struggle for survival. The habitats in Vrancea shelter a remarkable biodiversity, a proof that nature is in its own rights here. The Putna River water goes on carving its riverbed in stone for thousands of years, offering an impressive landscape after leaving behind the mountainous region. If we add to the picture the colors of late autumn, then everything starts resembling a passage from a fairy tale. The land of wine and vine, another name for Vrancea County, has the largest area cultivated with vine in Romania. A wine-growing heritage of almost 28,000 hectares, representing 10% of the whole viticultural area of the country. Grape harvest is a moment of unspeakable joy and represents the crowning of a whole year of work. This is one of the few places where the traditional craft of making wine could be preserved, from grape harvest to crushing the grapes with the feed. A real ritual with clear rules retained over generations which, in the folk tradition, was meant to produce a very special wine. Vrancea is a national leader regarding the area cultivated with vine and the grape production. A network of 16 marked tourist trails, totaling 225 kilometers, offer access to countless other beauties of the region. Starting with 2016, the European route E85, 4,400 kilometers long, that crosses Romania from north to south, passes 67 kilometers through Vrancea mountains, which shows the undeniable value of this region. Winter is a sketch, spring a watercolor, summer an oil painting, and autumn a mosaic combining all these. The most beautiful Romanian ballad, called Miorița, has its origin in Vrancea land. It is here that the counties of Bacău, Vrancea and Covasna meet, in a place called Miorița's origin. The scholar Alecu Russo, who discovered the ballad, considers that the shepherds of our fields and mountains produced the most beautiful pastoral epic in the world. The Mioritic song is considered one of the most representative Romanian folk creations of a pastoral structure. The ballad is a symbol of the perenniality of the Romanian people, shepherding being an ancient occupation. The reconstitution of the genesis of the song allows excursions into the culture and ethnographic relatives of the traditional Romanian village. Tâșița Gorges and Putna waterfall draw tens of thousands of tourists every year, but Vrancea mountains mean a lot more. The swift water of the Coza carved deeply in the friable sedimentary rock at the place called Coza's Narrow Pass, creating some spectacular gorges. Over time they deepened, remained at the surface only the sedimentary rock, arranged in layers and different colors, like a huge fresco. These are the lost sunny days, as now autumn is but the silence before winter. Renowned for their wilderness, Vrancea mountains have an area of about 1,500 square kilometers and an altimetric average of 1,500 meters, with the highest peak called Goro of 1,785 meters. Legend goes that near Putna's waterfall, after midnight, once a year, an incredibly beautiful princess appears dressed in white. Just before dawn, before vanishing, she offers a handful of gems to the person nearby. Tâșița Gorge Natural Reserve is among the most attractive tourist destinations of Vrancea County and represents one of the largest natural reserves in Moldova. The reservation includes the greatest part of the Tâșița Basin, a river formed by the confluence of the branches Small Tâșița and Great Tâșița, flowing then into the Putna. The forests here are totally regenerated, the whole region being deforested in the 19th century. The gorges can be crossed at any time, as the 8 kilometers long route raises no technical problems, and it is arranged, marked and permanently maintained by the administration of the Ţara Gorges Natural Park and the Vrancea Mountain Rescue Public Service. The fast waters of the Ţara that carved the gorges form a few picturesque waterfalls along the course. As any adventure implies courage and an assumed risk, a mountain rescue service works in Vrancea 24/7. The rescue teams are ready to intervene at any moment, anywhere in their perimeter. They are in the front line for saving the lives of those in danger while on Vrancea mountains, regardless of the fact that there are emergency situations caused by natural disasters or tourists in danger. The mountain rescuers of Vrancea County are the safety belt of any tourist venturing in these places. Lapsha's Hollow is the place where can be admired some of the most spectacular landscapes that Vrancea County can offer. Vrancea Mountains, with their impenetrable forests, frozen waters and snow-capped summits hidden in the clouds, are already waiting for another spring.